It is truly the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Ebenezer Methodist Church, Ghana. We are located at 5112 Berwyn Road, College Park, Maryland. We are looking forward to be blessed with a great word from God. We are going to dance and fellowship and worship in oneness and in spirit and in awe. Wherever you are joining us from, if you're on Facebook, our handle is EMC Maryland. If you're on Instagram, it is EMC Maryland. And if you're on YouTube, it is channel 5112. Stay tuned and we will worship together.
Come and connect, build, tell stories, and be able to get resources on the things that challenge them daily. Transformation Hour is a space for us all to not only build community and connect, because one of the biggest challenges of life is feeling that you're going through it alone. When you can connect here, there's so many other people who are going through the same thing and can help you along in your journey as you help them as well. So thank you for joining us here today. Just a reminder, we are Ebenezer Methodist Church, located at 5112 Berwyn Road in College Park, Maryland. You can join us every Sunday at 10 a.m. for Sunday service, in person and on Zoom. You can also connect with us on Facebook at EMC Maryland and on Instagram at EMC Maryland as well, to catch not only Transformation Hour every Wednesday at 8 p.m., but also other various programs that stream every single day, so you can connect and build with us on the daily. So today, we will be introducing our topic, which will be Walking in Purpose, Part 2. Now, if you were here with us last week, which I hope you were all here with us last week, we talked about the introductory part of Walking in Purpose, Part 1 with Sister Clara, and today we're going to be connecting and talking about Part 2 with Brother Alex Nartey, who's here with us today.
Hi there.
Hey there. We're so happy to have you here today. Thank you for joining us.
Of course.
And Brother Alex is currently a physical therapy major, and we're excited that he's here and to really give his insight on what he feels about walking in his purpose and how the people around him feel about it as well. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, honestly. Do you want me to get right into it? Or are you gonna ask me the questions? Like what's gonna happen?
We're gonna do a little bit of both, so it'll be more conversational. But honestly, like we can start from what do you think about when someone says walking in your purpose?
What do I think? Okay. With that saying, usually because I hear from my parents a lot too, a lot of times I just think just finding my way as I go through life, really. More of taking what I have, taking the knowledge I know right now, the knowledge that I can gain later, and just using that to help me find a reason to keep going, you know? A lot of times people, especially in America, because the way the system is, we're raised to follow, not lead. So we don't really have a good understanding of being a leader. So a lot of times finding your purpose is hard because you don't know how to without somebody else telling you to do this or that. you know. Yeah. It took me a while to figure that out, actually. Since turning 21, I've been using this time frame to fully understand that more, finding my purpose. Because coming out of high school, it's just hard finding a major. We talked before, you and me. You heard how many majors I've switched to. Like, I started off in business as an accountant, then I went to financing, to analyst, to marketing, to video, to photography, and now it's like after all those different major changes, it took turning 21. It took really sitting down with myself and taking all the information I got, all the deep talks I've had with my family, with my friends, and with strangers to really understand that my purpose isn't just sticking to one thing. My purpose isn't just walking someone's path. I want to find my own path. I want to find a way to give back to the world. I personally like to help other people. Whether they deserve it or not, I will still help you because regardless, that's just who I am. I didn't like to accept that growing up because I took it as, oh, hey, I'm too nice to people. I need to learn to be mean. I need to hold back, but that's just a part of me I cannot get rid of. And I had to accept that and understand that it's not a bad thing to still show empathy, to show compassion to other people, because in a world where people don't show you that, you know, it's good to have someone who does. So that was me accepting one trait of myself and using that to help me better myself. After letting myself be more, you know, friendly, more nice like I am, but also learning to restrict myself because people can't take advantage of that, it's created this new maturity, new mindset for me where, like, I know my value. I also know the value of other people. I've gotten to the point now where, like, people come and go. I've learned that. I finally understand that. You have friends come in, you have friends go out. Sometimes you still keep tabs with them, sometimes you don't. But it's always good to, because you get connections, networking. That helps you better, better yourself as you go on. I believe in networking because if it wasn't for networking, I would not be where I'm at today. I've had so many jobs now due to the fact that, you know, COVID affected a lot of things, but because I knew people, I was able to find jobs to replace those jobs. And what I realized as I was going, like I said, accepting myself and then using the networking I had, it helped me better understand that, wow, not only do I realize I enjoy helping people, but I like helping people understand themselves more too. And I found that out through working out and exercising. Because a lot of times people don't realize when you work out and exercise, you see yourself for who you are. Because it's not just motivation to keep going out to work out every single day. That takes straight discipline to keep the consistency going. And for a while after high school, I didn't know what to do with that because it was like, oh my God, I had a coach tell me what to do all the time. Now it's me, myself, and I. Around that time too, I came out with a shoulder injury that was so bad I couldn't do anything with it. But I dealt with it. It brought me down. It made me feel like I couldn't reach my goals, that I need to stick to this, and that I couldn't ever go to this ever again. But no, it was just I was injured. I didn't do anything about it. I finally took it seriously, got better. Doing that helped me also gain my confidence back in being fit and physical again. And, well, yeah, it's really just taking your time to understand you and understand your surroundings. You can go ahead and live your life following someone. You can go ahead and just let your parents tell you to become a doctor, you know, like most parents do. Be a doctor, be a lawyer, this, that. Cool. You can do that, but you could also still do what you want to do, you know?
Yeah. You know, that's very true. And you hit on a lot of great topics and a lot of great insight because as you talked about how graduating, you had to really find yourself and sit down with yourself. I always say that a lot of our young life is so structured.
Yeah.
Everyone tells you what to do, where to go, what you're supposed to do. Oh, you go to third grade, fourth grade. You don't really think about it. It's like you're on autopilot. So once you get to 18 and now you have to think for yourself and figure it out for yourself, you're like, well, I never really thought for myself. So how do I do this thinking thing? And then he's like, okay, now I have to figure out how to think. How do I make decisions? How do I know if it's a good decision? How do I know if I'm going the right direction? Really, who am I? And it's coupled with, because you get to that age, now you have all this newfound freedom. So it's like sensory overload. You want to do everything. Now you have a job or you have money where you can spend it on whatever you want. Like you said, it's hard because if you don't have things like discipline, you don't have direction, you don't have a purpose, you kind of just are all over the place. And then you realize a year goes by, 2 years go by, 3 years go by, like, I did nothing. So I always say, like, and I said it even last week during part one, where like when you get to college, it's so hard and you see everybody, quote, quote, wilding out. But it's because, and I say like, I feel like God put that distraction there to see who's disciplined, see who's like really searching for that path, who's really putting those steps in place. Because there's a big difference between those you see. There's some people are like, man, those people are really going hard, or yeah, those people got kicked out, or those people like just didn't make it. And then you really think about yourself and you're like, well, who am I? Where in this group of people do I want to fit in? Is that really my friend? Do I know how to pick a good friend? Is this a good major? And it's so many things happening at once that a lot of people just get really sensory overload, or a lot of people just get very depressed and anxious. And it's like, it's so extreme. It's either super deeply depressed or super anxious and stressed out. And then it just feels like the whole world is crashing slowly on you, but your life just quote started. So you're like, wait, what is this? So I just wanted to ask, like, how were those feelings for you? And on the top of that, you're like, man, I have to like have a purpose. I have to like do stuff. Oh my gosh. Like, how was that for you?
So I can say, and this is just me being really open about this, I have felt like that since middle school, actually. Overwhelmed, over like just super anxious, mainly because unfortunately, I am a people pleaser and I'm working on that. We all have our faults, but it was always because I didn't want to have my parents' expectations. Like, I didn't want to lower their expectations of me, which not only made me feel more stressed, because like one bad grade made me feel like, oh my gosh, the world is ending. Another bad grade, I'm not good. A third bad grade, I don't deserve to be in school. Going through high school, middle school to high school transition, I realized that I was losing confidence in my skill sets and myself. As I watched all my friends all in like science and tech or some cool program, I was over here like, I'm in a business program in high school. I'm not doing anything major like they are. They're making these cool projects, learning these cool things. I'm just learning business. Part of it was, it was a lot of self-confidence that was needed back then. But as I graduated and got into college, it was worse. Because I was in that mindset for so long, and I'm going into, a new chapter where I'm by myself and I have to think for myself. It was just so hard to focus on school. All I wanted to do was just like de-stress. So school became kind of like an afterthought for me because I was just that overwhelmed with everything. Tests, exams. I would study. I would take an exam and I would fail. And it was just like, but I studied. Like, I studied the material that was given to me, and I'm still failing. What is happening? What is wrong with me? And I really had to sit down and think, do I want to keep going through school right now, knowing that I'm not doing good, or do I want to take my time, pick myself back up, live my life, understand myself, and then tackle it again? Once I finally made that decision, I've been less stressed, less anxious, less depressed. I feel more in tune with myself. I feel more like progressive. I feel like I'm doing more every single day. Like, I'm learning more, I'm building more, I'm creating more for myself, more opportunities, more doors. And that's just my way of saying we all have our own paths. We all have our own ways of dealing with what we have to deal with. Some people can get through school, through all that stress. Some people cannot. Some people are good at managing their stress. Some people are not. I, unfortunately, am part of that group. It happens to all of us. That doesn't mean give up. It just means find another way to tackle it. Because if you give up, that's just going to be a cycle nonstop. You're going to give up on every single thing. And now you're like 25. Where has all that time gone? It's gone somewhere else because you gave up instead of trying new things to keep yourself going. And that in itself is what finding your purpose is, or going to your purpose is. Failing nonstop so you understand what you need to do to get better. Because if you take this course, then you don't like it, you want to go to this course, you don't like it if you fail this course, yada, yada, yada. It happens. We are human. We are meant to fail and get better. So to me, it's really just take what you can do in your limits, what's in your limits, what's in your control, and do that. The outside stuff, anything that's going to bother you, try to tune it out. And if you can't, try to control yourself and your emotions, discipline yourself enough to control it, and find a better approach. Because if you let those emotions overtake you, they will make you worse, and they will only deepen. So it's better to really take the time, breathe, and find a better path. And I'm sure this is just something I tell people nowadays, and something I do and still do now. I usually tell people, hey, you should slow down a little and look at that flower. Because we're so focused, so narrow-minded, so like tunnel vision, we don't realize everything else around us. So I always just tell people, slow down and smell the flowers a little bit, because when you do, you feel better.
I feel like it's very true, because even what you said about the emotions, sometimes they're so deep and heavy that it's the saying they always say, let your thoughts pass by, don't grab onto it and hold it. Because a lot of times when you hold it and you stay there, you sink to it's like an endless hole. You just keep falling. And a lot of times when you're falling, it's harder to get up to the surface. It's easier to fall than to get up back to the surface. So it's really interesting that you said that. And I even wanted to piggyback off of how you said you switched your major so many times. Like in this African community, like you said, doctors, nurses, lawyers, we have very limited options of what's deemed as good, respectable, or makes you good money. And did that play a role into that? Because I can say for myself, I had to fight my whole family just to be a marketing major, to prove that it was worthy. And it was hard. But I mean, for myself, I felt like I don't want to go to school if it's not something I want to do. Like, I'm not the biggest blood person. I'm not really into walking around. I don't even like hospitals. I'm highly traumatized by hospitals. So you will never, I'm such a health freak that you'll never catch me in a hospital. Like, but it's one of those things that you don't see enough artists. You don't see enough engineers. You don't see enough musicians. You don't see enough physical therapists. You don't see enough therapists. You don't see enough of other things outside of the typical nurse, doctor, lawyer. So I feel like a lot of times as young people, we feel boxed in by force. You have to do something you don't want to do. And then you end up, there's people that make it all the way to the end and hate their job because they never wanted to be a nurse. So, I mean, like for you, how did that play a role as you switched so many majors and trying to really find yourself or what makes you happy and purposeful?
So for that, like you said, you said you have to fight your family for that. I didn't have to find my family, but I had to help my family understand I'm not in a spot right now where I can focus on school because I still don't know what I want. And it's my third year, and we're still wasting money on school. So why don't we take a pause real quick? Like I just wanted to pause just so I can re-tackle everything else. Get myself together, go right back into it. It was hard because getting out of high school, I got acceptance letters. I got like one acceptance letter from Berkeley because I really wanted to do music, and I was surprised they even considered me. I was like, huh? Now, I saw it in the mail, and my mom picked it up, and immediately said, you're not doing music, and threw it away. And I really sat there. In my head, I'm like, wow. I was really like taken aback. I was flabbergasted. I was like, that's not cool. Like, it wasn't cool because like, this is what I want to do. But because it's something you don't think is viable in the future, you don't want it, it really hurt me. It was like, so then I guess I'm going to school just for you, not for me. I was being a little petty. I was like, you know what? I'm going to just stick to business then, you know? But I generally wanted to learn business, but I stuck to business mainly because I needed the understanding of how to run a business. Because my end goal really is just to own my own business and run my own business. I don't want to work under anybody anymore. It's stressful working under people. But it was kind of hard to just get through things because I wanted so much. I wanted to do so much. I wanted to explore everything. I wanted to get into music. I wanted to get into videography, photography. I wanted to be a physical therapist. I wanted to do so much, but I realized I can't do all of that at once. So I had to take what I wanted to do and make all of it work well with each other. Taking photos, doing videos. I can use that in my physical therapy, personal trainer aspect, where I record myself doing workouts for people to understand how to do them. I can add music to it. I can still edit videos on the side, make that a side hustle. I just, as I went through each year, I just realized I could do so much more. I can use each skill set to do even more and earn more money for myself so I can feel more comfortable living in America, where everything is pricey nowadays, you know. Even living in Maryland, you know, if you got $1,500 to pay for rent every month, good on you, but I'm a college student. So that's hard. It was progressive because I wanted to do me. So I still use the time in school to do me, but I also realized it's also wasting resources like money. So it was my decision to put my foot down and tell my parents, no, I've switched majors too many times. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm lost, and I need time to figure myself out. I'm gonna take this semester off, and I know you don't like it, but I have to for myself. My mom's still in my ear about going back to school. She's still mad, you know, she's still like, you still need to go back to school. I'm like, I understand, but there's a time frame I gotta follow. There's also the feeling of readiness I need in myself. I can't just go back. I thought I could go back within the next semester, but I really don't feel confident in me going back right now. And I'm not gonna hold myself back like 6 years and go back. I'm getting myself together. School is an option. It can be an option. People can make it through life without school. It's happened. As long as you understand what you're doing and you make those skill sets, you can always make it. There's so many other options you can take other than just going to college and spending so much money that you have to pay back your entire life just to still not have it paid off. Some people are lucky to pay it off, some people are not. I just feel like that transparency with your parents, where you finally put your foot down and let them know that you want to take control of your life, that's needed in order for them to understand they can't keep pushing you past your limits. Because if you don't do that, then you're stuck hating a job or hating a major that you didn't even want because you were trying to please someone else. And I say all that just to say, it's your life. It's really your life. God made you for a reason. Live your life for you and figure yourself out. Don't let anybody else control how you do yourself, because once you do, you've lost yourself. And once you've lost yourself, you'll fall into a pit where you're constantly spiraling in a cycle until you finally decide, I want control of my life. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, it did. And it's really honest, and it's very true that I think the more transparent and open we are about it, the more other people around us and the next generation after us will feel comfortable going where they're called versus going where they're told. And I say that because a lot of times God calls us for things, but we, like you said, sometimes we feel like we're not ready, or we feel that we're going to disappoint someone else by going a different way than where we think we're supposed to be going. So, but I think, at least I'll say for myself, the older I get, the more I realize that time is an illusion. It's like society tells you time about time. God never really talks about time. God tells you that he does things for you in his own time. But he never, but society tells you by, like you said, by 25, you have to do this. By 23, you have to do this. You have to go to college right after high school. You have to do this. You have to do that. And it puts a lot of pressure on all of us where we feel that, okay, I don't feel comfortable, but I'll do it. I don't feel ready, but I'll do it. But I even want to ask you how, as you were finding yourself, how much of that was connected to God that really brought you that peace and empowered you to be able to say, this is the path he's pushing me on, so this is where I'm going to go. Or this is how he wants me to use me. Like you said, now you help more people. How did you get to that point where you were able to step out of yourself and say, I can do this and be this person?
So that took a lot of regaining my faith back and reconnecting myself back to God, because there was a time frame where I was so annoyed at my life and how things were going. I was putting all my blame on him, saying it's his fault I'm like this, saying stuff like, I didn't even want to live this life, but I'm stuck in it. A lot of it isn't even his fault. I just made decisions that ultimately affected me. And I'm putting the blame on someone else because I don't accept my own faults. Cool. When I finally told myself to stop blaming other people and take the blame for myself, I really started realizing that although this happened, it led me to this. Although that happened, I gained more for that. I realized all my failures, all my problems, although they happened, they also led me to other things. And whenever I sat down and really thought about my life a little bit and how this happened and that happened, I really made a connection. I was like, so you really like I talk to God like he's like not like my best friend, really. I'm like, so you really had me go through this just so I can understand that, when we could have just made it easy for me so I don't have to struggle. I thank you for that, but it's still frustrating for me. But I still thank you for helping me understand more about life and myself. I'm going to keep going down this path that you're showing me, and I'm going to keep understanding myself more. I'm still going to use my good traits. I'm going to use it to help other people. So that was really just how I reconnected back with him. So nowadays, whenever I just feel like I want to talk to someone, I'll just sit down, talk to God a little bit, like just confide in him, kind of say thank you for helping me realize this, thank you for this, that, because even today, so like I said, I like helping people. Monday, I gave $20 to a homeless person. Yeah, whatever, $20, I don't care. I was like, what I noticed as I went through life, anytime I give money to someone or give money to somebody who needs it more than I do, I somehow earn it right back. Today, I was going to work. This dude's car was completely not working. I helped him jumpstart it. I was about to leave, but he stopped me to give me back $20. I was like, cool. I gained it right back. I'm just an advocate of taking good energy, giving it back to people, because I know it'll always be returned back. There's nothing wrong with being nice. There's nothing wrong with showing compassion to other people. I don't know. It's weird whenever I actually sit back and realize that everything I'm doing has a purpose, and he's giving me that purpose, and he's helping me understand it. It's like, you would think to a non-believer he doesn't exist, but when you really look at things that happen, it's like, wow, he has to exist. There's no way all this is happening like in this pattern. There's no way there's no way he has to exist. He does exist. And I'm tired of letting the outside world tell me that he doesn't and losing faith in him. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I always talk about the fight of the spirit and the flesh. And like you said, whenever I feel some type of way or I feel down or doubtful, I always, like you said, I'm very conversational with God, because a lot of times I have to really separate it from myself, because you have to understand that the spirit moves and so does the flesh. So a lot of times if I'm feeling irritated, angry, sad, anxiety, that's a reaction of my flesh. That's not a reaction of my spirit. And like you said, when I start talking to God, or I ask him a question, or I say, show me, or send this to me, he always sends it to me. And then I feel more at peace, versus if I reacted based off of what my flesh was trying to do, then I would have found myself in a way worse situation than I thought I was in before. But like you said, like God likes a cheerful giver. So like I've always given, because I've never been without. You know, like it's like you're like $20, yeah, that's whatever. I've never been without, so I never had a problem giving to somebody or helping someone. And if you pay it, like you said, if you really pay attention, it always comes back to you in one way or another. You help someone get an opportunity, all of a sudden an opportunity came to you. You helped someone do this, all of a sudden help came back to you. But even as you said, like you're more expressive and you're able to communicate better, I even wanted to dive deeper, because a lot of times us as young people, it's hard to communicate. It's hard to be honest. It's hard to be transparent in the age of social media, where everyone looks good, everyone smells nice, everyone has a nice car, everyone's doing great in life. It's hard to be transparent and say, hey, I'm struggling. I need help, because you never want to be the only person that's not doing well. So for you, like, how did you get to that point and cut the noise out? Because it's very easy to just not say anything. And for me, I always say, like, the hardest part about life is feeling like you're struggling by yourself and everyone else is doing better. But the truth is, not everyone is really transparent about the journey. So then they're probably struggling too, but you just don't know it. So how are you able to cut the noise and be able not only to communicate with your parents, but just the people around you, and just be honest with yourself? Because you said that what brought you closer to your path of purpose.
So I can say, for the most part, at a young age, I've always been self-aware of everything around me. Mainly because as an only child, my working parents constantly working, you tend to get imaginative. You tend to want to do all this and that. I personally, for me, because of my self-awareness, because I was self-conscious, I always knew that there were people who were struggling just like me. I knew that I wasn't alone in this struggle, but it was hard to see that, because, like you said, everybody's not being as transparent as they should be. They're showing what they got, but not what it took them to get there. As I got older, I realized I'm not alone in this battle. It wasn't until basically not this year, but it wasn't until 18 when I really made the connection that nobody's doing good. We're all just faking it to make it look like we're doing good. What we really need to do is just be more honest with each other and more open. So when I was more honest about my feelings and more honest with myself, I realized that as much as I'm selfless, there are so many times I want to be selfish, because I just feel like people run over that selflessness. People take advantage of it. So it was really just more like finding a limiter to how much I'm selfish with myself and how much I can give back to the world. If I can keep a balance where I can really keep myself intact while still interacting with the world around me, I'm good. I started practicing that now, mainly because I started learning more about Taoism, because I was intrigued. I like the idea of taking control of what you can control and keeping what you can't out. And if you can't control what's out because it's overwhelming you, then take that feeling and understand it, but don't let it take over you. It was that helped me really fully understand that nobody's perfect. Everybody has their faults. Everybody's different. Judging someone because they're doing this is dumb. Nobody's weird. We're all normal. We're just ourselves. It's literally that. Like, Some kid was running in the streets, Naruto running or whatever. Okay, that's a kid doing what kids do, having fun. Making fun of them for that is like, what's the purpose? Like, what's the actual purpose of constantly belittling people to bring yourself up when we could all just cheer each other on? I don't know where this mindset came from. I just had it for so long. I've just been cultivating it and making it better, but it was hard to get myself back to that during that time period of high school and college and a little bit of middle school, because like I said, I was so focused on what I couldn't do and how much I was failing everybody that I wasn't focused on what I had done and how much I achieved. This year alone, I even realized it's been a year. I started boxing last year. I looked at my old videos. I wasn't the best. Now I look at myself now. It's actually about to be a year next month. I'm looking at myself now, and I'm looking at how much I've learned, how much I've absorbed, and how much I've done in that 1 year. It's like, wow. All that potential was wasted all those years because I didn't believe in myself and I let the outside world take control over me. But like I said, when you really sit back and smell the roses, smell the flowers, you really realize all the potential you've had and all the potential you've gained just by slowing down yourself and slowing down everything around you to really analyze and rest on those thoughts. So, yeah, it really is interesting how the mind changes over time.
Yeah, and honestly, I tell everybody that everyone is failing right now. You have to understand that this is a point in your life where everything you're doing it for the first time. You're learning how to pay taxes for the first time. You're learning how to be professional at a job for the first time. You're learning how to be in a community with a bunch of people, like in a big school environment for the first time. There's a lot of things you're doing for the first time, so you're not going to be the most successful at it, but that's okay. That's the point. This is the learning period. That's why people always joke and say, oh, the 20s are the ghetto years. Yeah, because we're all struggling at the same time, with the analogy that everyone in the ghetto is struggling. But it's really honestly like you only learn by doing. You only find peace and the lesson by doing. So it's like you said, it took you a long time. And I think one thing that people always say, oh, white people are ahead of us or this or that. I think it's different because they have a system where they're in a family dynamic or a community that's been through so much already. So they're able to tell them ahead of time, hey, this is what's happening. This is what's going to come. This is what you should do. It's different when we're in this community. We're all immigrants. We're all here for the first time. We're all doing this for the first time. A lot of us were first generation college kids. We're figuring this out for the first time. Our parents are doing their best, but ultimately, we're not going to get it right the first time, and that's okay. And for me, I'm a a big proponent of Transformation Hour because I feel that this is the place to say what's going on. Because like you said, it took you a long time before you started talking to people. Imagine if you started talking to people 3 years ago about that. Would it have taken you as long to get to this enlightenment section of where you... So that's another thing, like that's something I figured out. My life started to get better the more I communicated with people. Hey, I'm struggling today. Or, I really tried this and I failed and I don't know what I did wrong. And someone else, maybe they might be a year older than me, maybe they might be my same age. They said, hey, I went through that too. I did this and this is how I figured it out. So that person, by me sharing, that person just saved me and taught me a lesson without me having to struggle and suffer in the process. I always say, God didn't put you here to struggle. He didn't put you here to suffer. So if you're suffering and you're struggling, we're missing a standing point with God. We're missing a step. Because God can teach you the lesson without putting you through endless struggle and suffer. But he also puts you here to build community with people. So you have to ask yourself, how much are you contributing to the community? Because you only get what you give. So if you're not putting into the community, how are you going to get it back? If you're not transparent with your journey and what helped you in life, how is someone else able to be transparent with you and share what helped them on their journey that would probably help you or save you a lot of time? So for me, that's what really pushed me to be more vulnerable and more communicative. I'm a very communicative person, but in my personal life, it took me a long time before I started talking to people. I spent most of my young age like alone. Like there's an age gap between me and my brother. I was always a nerdy kid, so I never talked much. So it took me a very long time to learn how to talk to people in a sense, like you said, to communicate, to be open, to connect and be honest and transparent about some things. And now I'm like, this is the best thing ever. I've gotten so many opportunities by being open. So it's something that happens along the process, but it only happens by doing. And there's no such thing as a bad choice. I always say, there's no such thing as a bad choice because you always get something in the end. There's a good choice and there's a better choice. The better choice is going to save you a lot of time, save you money, save you resources. The good choice, you're still going to get to the end point. It's just going to take you a little bit longer. So it just depends on where you fall on the pendulum. But as you walk through your purpose and we talk about helping people, like you said, helping people, what in your mind took you to physical therapy? Because something Sister Claire and I talked about last week was that sometimes, a lot of times, we tie our purpose to what we do to make money. We think, oh, I have to be, let's say, a doctor to help people to make money. But if God told you to help people, there's 10,000 ways to help people without being a doctor. So how are you able to really come to that middle ground and say, I can help people without having to fit into this box I don't belong in?
Okay.
Sorry, I talk in very long paragraphs with no punctuation, so you gotta stay with me a little bit.
No, I got all that. Trust me, I got you. For that, what I can say is, it wasn't until this year. I noticed it. Yes, it was always in the back of my head, but I never really focused on it. How do I put this? I did wrestling a lot back in for 6 years after, like 2 more years after graduating high school. I did wrestling. It was literally the sport that helped me gain more confidence, helped me gain more discipline. With the shoulder injury, it really hurt not only my pride, my confidence, and physically hurt. It helped me really just kind of understand that I don't want my shoulder to hurt. I want help. I want someone to show me how to take care of this. And over time, I started coaching kids. I started coaching the high schoolers. After I left high school, I was coaching them. I was an assistant coach. I was helping them, training them. And I didn't realize it then, but I enjoyed doing that. I enjoyed being able to help people, lead people, show people what to do. It really was good. And I really enjoyed when it came to taking care of your body, because I also realized what people don't do nowadays is take care of themselves physically, like eating, working out, even like a simple walk. People don't even want to do that anymore. Just keeping yourself active, keeping yourself healthy. I realized not many people do that. And I saw it in my parents. I saw it in like a lot of people outside of that. I saw it in my friends sometimes. I was like, I didn't want that. I want to be that one outlier friend who will always help you get yourself back physically. Because when you physically have yourself good and fit, when you physically feel good, not only does that help boost your mentality and your confidence, it also helps boost your spirit. Because, like I said, working out isn't something you just do. It's something you learn. Everything you learn. You don't just go into the gym and lift weights and like, oh yeah, I know what I'm doing. Because you don't know what muscles you're working out. You're quietly just lifting just to lift. As I progressed and learned more, because I was trying to learn what muscles I need to work out on my shoulder, I also learned more muscles about the body. I was like, okay, cool. Now I know that. I also tied it back to the fact that when I was younger, I wanted to be a doctor because I loved science. So, cool. I wonder if there's something I can do with that. So this year, as I really figured myself out, I was like, that's right, I can be a personal trainer, which is what I'm doing now. I'm taking a course to get my personal trainer certificate so I can do that. But I also realized I can also make this into a really good major, something that can earn me back money to live comfortably. And even if it doesn't earn me money, I know I can still do it passionately and not hate it. On top of that, I also had a really good friend We went to a trip in Georgia. She was in the car with me. She was talking. She helped me understand that, wow, hey, have you ever thought about coaching? I was like, yeah, I have, but I never really acted on it, you know? So after that conversation, I really started feeling more compelled to do it because I was like, huh. You know, for all these 3 years I've been out of high school, I've been doing a lot of coaching people without realizing it. And I've realized I've been enjoying it and not getting, like, I really don't get paid for doing this. I coach people and I don't get paid. Currently, I'm coaching kids ages 4 or 5 to like 12 right now in boxing. And at first, I was really shy and scared because, like, I don't know if they're going to like my character because I'm a new person now. I'm different from who I was back then. I'm, like, more energetic, more mature, but childish still because, you know, I'm dealing with kids. But it was hard to tell if I was going to fit in or if I was going to do a good job. But quite literally, these kids come up to me and constantly want to talk to me, constantly want to, they call me Kevin Hart, and I'm kind of hurt, but like
I mean, I take that as a compliment. He's an accomplished person.
Yeah, it's like the fact is, I took that first step in really noticing and really wanting to do this to realize that it comes easy to me. Because I even took this first step, I've also made new friends who are also like-minded like me. And on my Instagram, I posted, I did a Spartan race. I did a 5K, which is only 3.2 miles, around the stadium in DC. Nothing too bad. It was literally, we all did it as a group. And for the first time, I felt alive. Because I've never done something like that before. And I've never connected with people like that before. But we all did it. We all accomplished something together. And it was like, wow, I really want to do this. So I was set. Even before all that happened, even after that conversation, I was set. I myself was set to stick to this. Because I've never realized in my life how much I can do something this much, not think about it, and enjoy every second of it. You know?
Yeah.
That's really how I figured. It was just really taking back all the no, I can't do this, or I don't have time for this, and really just like, wait, what do you mean I can't do this? I've been doing this and just not paying attention to it. It's really like sometimes you might not even realize that you're doing something that you love doing without realizing it, and once you realize it, it's like, wow, I can make this into a career. I can make this something I can stick to. Because honestly, if I didn't go down this path now, I think I would have kept switching majors. Like, I really feel like I would keep switching majors right now until I finally decided on this. But that's really how I figured it out. I just really listened to myself a little bit and let a positive outside source help me realize that too. But yeah.
You know what I heard in a lot of what you said? I heard discipline and consistency. I think a lot of times we block ourselves and we don't realize how much we self-sabotage ourselves. Until you really go back and be like, was I really mad at that person, or did I overreact and now we're not friends anymore? Or did I really have to change that, or could I have figured out a different way to do that? And somebody who really taught me a big lesson about not only consistency but discipline was my dad. He would always say, like you mentioned before about giving up, he would always say there's 10,000 ways to do something. So if you can't do it one way, why would you think you failed? You only failed because you didn't try any other way. And it's something that really stuck with me because a lot of things in my life, it's interesting that sometimes people look at you from the outside in and they're like, wow, you do this, you do that, it looks great. So seems so easy, but they don't see like the ups and downs you go through to be able to be disciplined, to be consistent, to say, oh my gosh, I don't really see progress. I don't really know if this is working out for me, but I'm gonna get up and do it again. Okay, today was cool, I had fun, okay, tomorrow wasn't that great, but I'm gonna do it again. And you do it, and they always say it takes you 21 days to build a habit. So through discipline and consistency, you're building a habit. And like you said, it builds into not giving up. So now all of a sudden you don't give up on anything not really knowing that you taught yourself the habit of trying again every day. And discipline, we talk a lot about discipline and consistency, and we talked about it a few transformation hours ago, but we don't talk about it as a community in the grand scheme of things, that's the path to success. Like, people don't put those in the same realm of success, but success in finding yourself, success in finding purpose means being consistent, talking to yourself, talking to God, talking to people, being open. You have to consistently be open with people before you end up finding really, really dope friends. You have to consistently build with yourself before you start to build self-confidence and feel comfortable in your skin. So a lot of it is a lot of repetition, and sometimes we give up really easily, not realizing it's like that. If you guys ever saw the meme of the guy digging, and if he digged one more time, he was gonna hit the diamond, but he just couldn't anymore. And that's what I think about when I think about consistency. So sometimes I feel like giving up. Even these past 2 weeks, I felt like giving up so bad. I said, God, I don't know. And I kept going, and something actually amazing happened this morning. I was like, oh, I cried. I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is insane. But like you said, it's so rewarding when you get to that point. But that work, that struggle, that shadow work, that checking yourself, looking at yourself, taking criticism, restructuring, losing everything, starting over again, like, that's the hard part that no one really talks about on the journey of purpose. Everyone always talks about, find your purpose, be mellow, be zen, let's meditate. But no one really talks about the struggle of getting there. It's cool when you get there, but let's be real. Help me get there. I want you to help me get there. And that's what we as a community have to work on. Let's be transparent. These days, I'm very transparent on my journey, because I'm like, man, the whole point of life is to help other people. So my testimony is a blessing to somebody else. So use me. How can I help somebody? And sometimes I feel like we miss that mark, but I'm really glad that you brought that up, especially being able to connect with other people outside of yourself too. But even so, and something else you mentioned about friendship, that when we're on a path, sometimes we lose friends and it's really devastating because we grew an attachment to them. But I feel like your purpose and your path is like a train. People come on and people come off. And now in life, I really look at people's purpose in my life. Are they here to help me? What part do they play on this purpose journey? How are they supposed to help me get to the next place? What are they teaching me? What are they supposed to help me with? What am I supposed to learn by being with this person? And sometimes we're just there to kiki and have a good time, but sometimes if you really sit down and look at it, like you said, with that person that you talk to, if you thought, oh yeah, she's just talking just to talk, but you didn't really listen and internalize what she said, probably wouldn't have taken you to this point that you are now. So, I mean, even on that sense, like, how do you connect with people now? And how do you find being with like-minded people helps you even more as you walk on your path?
So, in a way now, it's more of I do try to connect with people, but if they don't themselves want to connect, I don't push it, So I'll keep a conversation going. I'm not afraid to talk to some random stranger. Like today, when I was at work, literally, I'm building something, and this dude just walks up to me and starts talking to me. And we just had a casual 10-minute conversation about movies, and like I told him I've never seen the Fast and Furious franchise, and he really just went ahead and told me all about it. I really sat there and listened. It was like, dude, if you really give people chances, they want to talk. They're just afraid, or they're like, nobody wants to talk to me, because we're all so like in our heads, we don't realize, just talk to them. Before we even learn how to talk, how did we communicate? We went up to each other, and that's how we communicated. So if you're just going to keep like shying away from me, we're going to keep like being distant, that's on you at that point. But when it comes to connecting with people, I am 100% myself. Whether I'm happy, sad, whatever. I let people know, I let myself show that this is who I am. It took me a while to really accept that, but as I've accepted it now, it's like, I don't care what you think. I don't, okay, you don't like that I'm really peppy. You don't like that like I give my all in everything I do. Okay, you don't have to be my friend. I like thank you for your input, but the door is that way. I'm busy doing me. I don't need you making me feel bad about myself. For those that generally enjoy my character and enjoy my person, they want to actually spend time with me. I generally am happy because it's like, wow, you're not the first, you're not gonna run away like most people do. You're actually generally trying to get to know me, and I thank you for that. And I consider you a friend. And now that I consider you a friend, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. I'll help you when you need it, and you help me when I need it. Currently, I have so many good friends, small, tight group of friends that have helped me so much. And if it wasn't for them, I don't know how far I could have gone now. They've really helped me understand myself more. They've really helped me kind of get through some hard times. And they still are. But I've come to a point where I realize we're all busy now. We're all living. We all might not have time for each other all the time, but we still connect in some way or another. I don't get mad about it. It's like we're all human. When it comes to an outlining of like new people, it's just I'm gonna give you 100% Alex, but if I notice you're not even giving me 100% yourself, or if you're not even paying attention to what I'm saying, if you're not even like at all intrigued and you're just kind of trying to pass time by, cool. I've shared this experience with you. We've talked, we've connected a little bit, however much we connected. Next time I see you, I'm not going to engage because you are showing signs of like no interest. So why would I keep bothering you when I can just go about my life? That's what I mean. That's what Taoism really helped me understand. It's like I wanted to be your friend, but you obviously don't want to be my friend. So I'm not going to waste any more energy and time on you because that's in my control. That's the same thing with relationships, same thing with anything in life. It's just take control of yourself. Don't let people control you. Don't. If that one person you want to be friends with is not letting you be your friend and you keep trying and trying and it's failing, why are you still trying? Obviously, they don't care. There is like a line of people behind you right now who probably want to be your friend, who probably have the same mindset as you, who love the same things you love. But because you're so focused on trying to make a friend with this one person, or you're so focused on trying to be more outgoing instead of being yourself, you've not created this group of friends that don't really care about you, or you've created this like one friend who's using you, etc. You know, like all the negatives that you get when you really don't let yourself be transparent and 100% with people. You put yourself in a situation where you're like, you're trying to vouch for that person and how much of a jerk they are, but it's like everybody sees it but yourself. And once you finally take your time and realize that and put your foot down, it's like, yeah, my mistake for ever thinking you were my friend. My mistake for ever being your friend. I will do better, and I will be better at picking who my friends are. Because at the end of the day, the people you call friends or family, those are people you stick with until basically you die. Because a lot of times, some of them, the real good friends, the real close friends, will always keep tabs with you, talk to you, keep connections with you. Because if they care that much about you as another person, they would do that. In a world where everybody's selfish, to have someone as selfish as that keep tabs with you, it's like, wow, you're a true friend. Yeah, but that's kind of how I take things now. And that's how I really try to connect with people. I just, no more pretending to be some mellow dude, just, hey, as you can see, it's what time is it? It's 9 o'clock. I still have energy. Like, this is just who I am. I'm always energetic, but I know how to control that and use it for certain things. That's just who I am. And an energetic, outgoing, peppy dude sometimes. That's just how it is. Yeah.
Amen. Well, thank you so much for being with us here today, Alex, and your insight, and honestly just being open about your journey, your challenges, and just how you're starting to walk on your purpose and how you found yourself. I really appreciate your honesty and your candidness. It makes me so happy because I talk to you so often that I like when I see it's nice when you can see people progress in real time. It's really amazing because it just shows you like the evolution of people and just how when you stand out of your own way, who you can really become in the eyes of God. But, I want to leave everyone with a lasting message that, to touch on what Alex said about just being authentic within yourself. I think a lot of times it's so easy to imitate what you see and who others are because it seems like, oh, that version of them is doing so great, but there's so much greatness, so much potential, so many things within you that you were here for, you're built for, and God placed you here for. So I empower everyone to not only be open and honest and transparent on your journey, but be authentic within yourself. If you like something, enjoy it. If you don't like something, it's okay to not go along with the crowd. And always know that you're purposefully here. And work diligently, work purposefully, but be consistent with yourself. Hold yourself accountable and be disciplined for what you want. I always say sometimes we don't know if we can do something, like you said, to make money. We don't know if we can be an artist and make money. We don't know if we can do marketing and make money. We don't know if we can do this. But there's plenty of people who do it, and they do it with such passion and purpose that they make a lot of money in their field. And you have to ask yourself, are you moving with passion and purpose, or are you moving just to make the money? Because there's different results that come with both. But I really implore everyone to be authentic in your journey and learn how to be comfortable in your own skin and find yourself on the path of purpose. But also, thank you everyone for joining us today. I'm always so humble and grateful for Transformation Hour, the amazing things that we learn through the process, and just how we can connect with each other within just building community. So I really appreciate everyone for being here, whether you're on YouTube, you're on Facebook, you're on Zoom. I thank you all for being here. And again, this is Ebenezer Methodist Church. We're located at 5112 Berwyn Road. Please follow us and like us on Facebook and Instagram at EMC Maryland. Also follow and like our youth group at emc.myf.md on Instagram. And please keep in touch and connect with us. You can catch us every Wednesday here on Facebook for Transformation Hour. We also have a TikTok page. We are working and moving. We're trying to be hip, guys, so come along for the journey. But I really appreciate everyone for being here, and I just wanted to do a closing prayer before we go. Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you for bringing us all here together today. I thank you for blessing Alex and giving him this platform to not only speak his mind, but let his spirit be free. May you continue to not only order his steps, but guide him where you'd like him to go. May you use him to not only touch everyone and move people on their path, but be open enough to accept as people move him on his. May you not only move Alex, but move all of us on the line today. As young adults, may we continue to not only be open within ourselves, but open on the path of Christ. May we be open to connect with you every day, Lord, and may we choose you on our journey. May we not be distracted by the world and what goes on with man, but only connected to what goes on our path. May we be open every day to not only be diligent and disciplined, but be open to try, be open to see, and be open to feel. May we not be subdued by what we think others think of us, but only think about what you think of us and who we can be on this path that we're walking. May you use us, may you open us, and may you continue to walk us on this journey as we're walking to learn, not only grow, but build and create space for other people that come behind us. In Jesus' name, we thank you for this platform and all that you continue to do for us. And may we not only be diligent today, but diligent every day. Amen.
Amen.
Amen, amen. Thank you guys for joining us again, and connect with us on Facebook and Instagram, and reach out to us if you ever have a topic that you want us to talk about, or you ever just want to share your thoughts with us. And if you're out there and you're still struggling on your path of purpose, or you're struggling in your path of faith, I implore you that just take a step and try. Whether you pray, whether you ask God a question, whether you just conversate with God, just take a chance and take a step. And that one step will lead to the second step, that leads to the third, that leads to you building on your spiritual path. So I pray that you all find peace and solace in God, and may you continue to be unafraid of where He's willing to take you. All right, everyone, have a good night. Thank you for joining us today. I know we went a little bit over 9 p.m., but I really thank you all for being here, and we will catch you next week for prayer and discussion.
All right.
Okay. Are we